It's now 10:37 here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're locked onto WEFM 99.9, the Clean Fresh Sound, and this is your Is Your Turn program. Remember, Is Your Turn is an interactive program, so the numbers to call are 457 if you're calling from a local landline, 532 9997 if you're calling from a digital cell phone, and you can also call us or send us a message on WhatsApp at 457 9997. The Is Your Turn program is being hosted by Mr. Cecil and Mr. Philbert John. Good morning to you, Cecil.
Thank you very much, Karen, and good morning to you, and good morning to all our listeners of the program Is Your Hand. As usual, we welcome you very warmly, and we anticipate your involvement in the program. And even as we greet all the folks who are listening to us on all the platforms, including Star Radio, Star FM, and Garfina Radio. We're so happy that you're able to be with us another Sunday morning. But let me turn over to my colleague to greet you.
Philbert?
Thank you very much, Cecil, and good morning. Good morning to all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to all persons listening to WEFM wherever you are located, whether in neighboring territories in the wider diaspora. Good morning. It's good to be back as we engage in another edition of Issue at Hand. As usual, we plan to edify you, educate you on certain critical issues facing St. Vincent and the region, perhaps the world as a whole. Let me extend special welcome to our guests. You'll hear from them in a while. Cecil?
Yes, Philbert, as you said, this morning's program is a very special one, and everyone should be tuned in. So everyone in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because in different ways, it's a program. The contents and the topic that we'll be discussing will have some implication for life and living. Of course, life, living, and production in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So yes, so we're inviting as many persons as possible to be with us, join us this morning, because we'll have something useful, very essential for your life and your living. Yes, I just want to give a shout out to the usual folks, wherever you are in the world today. We greet you, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate your followership to this program. And just to let you know, this morning, as Pigeon indicated, we have a very special program. We're going to be discussing what has happened in our region, in our neighborhood. The U.S., with all its military might and force, doing something unbelievable, unthinkable, going into Venezuela and kidnapping its leader and his wife, President Maduro and his wife. And we're going to be hearing more about those things and what it means for us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And to help us along that discussion, we have in studio this morning the Venezuelan ambassador to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ambassador Perez Santana. And we also have Dr. Richard Byron Cox in studio, and he's going to add and help us through an understanding of what it means for us in St. Vincent. So without further ado, I want to now get Ambassador Perez to give us an update on what is the current situation in Venezuela, and also what we can expect going forward. So, Ambassador Perez, good morning and very warm welcome to studio of WEFM and to Is Your Turn in particular. Glad to have you on board with us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Cecil. Good morning, Mr. Cox, and everybody here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to inform the people of St. Vincent what very sad and a very awful moment that we are facing in Caracas, Venezuela, and in general in Venezuela, and my country with my people, no? because, as you know, yesterday at 2 o'clock in the morning, a team of the United States Army Force invade our country, bomb our country in different parts, in 4 states of our country, and kidnap our president and his wife, and kill many Venezuelan civilian and military. In violation of international laws, violation of the Article 1 and 2 of the United Nations chapter, and many other law, international law and national law in his country. He invade another country and kidnap a legal, legitimate leader and president of, and his wife of the country, based on fake accusation, a fake and created from his imagination narrative of narcotraffic. All the studies, all the research regarding narcotraffic in the region say that Venezuela is not a producer or transit country of drug. Everything is in the Pacific. But that was just an excuse that he used to manipulate the opinion and give to him and to the United States people and the court one element to justify the legality of his act. But internally in the United States, they know the real reason, and the real reason yesterday was demonstrated by himself, by Donald Trump, that the real reason is to dominate the country and to take the control of the oil and all the Venezuelan resources. He said that. I am not creating this narrative. He declared himself. You could listen, and if you want, you can repeat what he say. You can find in the media and the news what he said. He said, "We will run the country, we will administrate the country until we believe that it's a trustable country, and our oil company will run and will establish in the country, and they will win money with that." So everybody have to be clear the reason why Donald Trump invade and kill our people. Now, the actual situation as the President Maduro, the only president that have Venezuela, is now in New York after being kidnapped and after kill the forces of Trump, kill so many Venezuelan that protect our president, and he's now in New York waiting for a process, a legal process, to face the accusation, the false accusation of narcotraffic for him. In our country exists one constitution, and the constitution established when it's a absolute absence of the president, the vice president have to assume the duties of the president. In this case, is not an absolute absence because the president is not die. The president is not mentally ill. That is one of the causes of that. The president of Venezuela, the National Assembly didn't declare him as absent. Even the court didn't declare him as absent. So, but in that case, the court, the Supreme Court of Venezuela, established and already did it yesterday that in the case of the forced absence because was kidnapped, the vice president have to assume the duties of the president. So the revolution continue. There is not a break or change of regime like they want. Maybe if he decide to run again, to bomb again, and to invade again our country, have to take the vice president. I don't know with which accusation because he hasn't no any process in the United States, and then the president of the National Assembly. In the case that the vice president is not there, is the president of the National Assembly. So the Constitution is reinforces all the process to keep the country in a legal way. No, the only way that they can change the regime or that is his goal is to do a coup d'etat. Is the only way, and everything is possible. He said that he will run the country. I don't know in which way. Maybe he said that we have our forces in Venezuela. Well, they enter and they leave. They invade and they leave. They have the CIA working there. It's true, but for me it's very difficult. And the most difficult is not that. The most difficult is that we have a people in Venezuela. We have a people that believe in our revolution, believe in Simón Bolívar, and they have the blood of Simón Bolívar in their veins. And the spirit of Simón Bolívar is in our people, in us. So we will resist, we will be united, and we will defeat any external force that want to take the control of our country. And our people, our commander Chavez show us that. Our President Maduro prepare us for that. So I don't think that he have very easy the way to take the control of our country. The Spaniard couldn't have the control of our country. In many ways, the United States wanted to do the same, and it wasn't not possible. Not now will be possible. That is the situation now.
Ambassador, do you have information on as to the number of people, Venezuelan people who
died?
Yes.
Not yet. We are counting. We are finding because I have some information that more than 60 missiles were launched to our country in different parts of Venezuela, different. But we have no the number of people injured or we saw in the media some military that they were injured and they talk. They say they count the moment of the missile explode and what happened with them. But we saw they are good. They declare to the media that, but we are content. But I guess that had to be many military and civilian dead, because the body that take care of the president, most of them have to be died because they confront the forces of United. And the declaration of the general that manage and direct the operation, they say that some of them of their forces are injured, but nobody dead. No, so I get that was a very hard confrontation, but we don't know. We have no the information.
The facilities that were bombed by the U.S. That happened in various cities in Venezuela.
Yeah.
In that case. Give us a sense of, were these facilities, where were they located? In proximity to residential areas, or were they?
Yeah. They bomb mainly 4 states: Caracas, Miranda, Aragua, y La Guaira. 4 states. La Guaira is a port state where the main international airport is Maiquetía, and they bombed the port, the port to where entry the all the stuff to Venezuela, where we export and import. In Miranda, they bomb a small airport near with the proximity of some residences, and they destroy the airport, the main airport. In Caracas, they bomb the Fuerte Tuna, that is a military base, where the Commander Chavez, in some moment, there was a military base, the main military base. But in 2015, was a flood in Venezuela, and many people lost their houses. More than 2 million of Venezuela lost the houses. No? And the Commander Chavez in 2015, no, 2011, I think. Commander Chavez ordered to give the land that were in the military base to build buildings and houses for people that lost their houses. And that was like that. In 10 years, more than 10 years, they build many residents. Maybe there are more than 500,000 people living in that place, in that building, because there is a lot of people. So civilian and the family of the military also. My sister live in that place.
Okay.
My sister living in that place. In
And
fact,
how she, have you had a word from?
yes, in fact, at 2:00 in the morning, when I heard the news, I called her and she told me, I achieved to leave when it started bombing. So with the first, I took my car and lived there, and many others did the same. Where was that the main area where is concentrated the communication, the antenna for internet and all the communication in Caracas also was bombing. And eso es en Baruta, Caracas, en Caracas, Miranda. In Aragua also is a base for aircraft base that also was bombing, no? Bombed. So that all the area that they destroy everything. And La Carlota also is the main airport that is a military airport, a base in Caracas, La Carlota. They also bombed that. So they destroy the ways of I mean, I think it's a theory. No, we have no information, but the theory is that they bomb all the areas where possibly can escape our president or can be used to repeal the actions. But the image of some video that we can see in the social media and the news state that was a huge bombing operation that I believe is also a theory that they use to the bomb to distract the way that they enter and they leave in just one operation. No?
Do you know whether or not any of is there any way of Venezuelans using the airports for purpose? I mean, can the airports,
which airport?
any of them, the ones that they bombed, can they be used currently?
Well, no now. I mean, okay. no now. The La Carlota or Higuerote, that were the two airports that were bombing, is not. No, they are not using. They are cleaning. They are evaluating all the damage, looking for military member of the military army that are alive or dead. They are. The process is slow. You have to, because it was so much destroyed with the missiles. No, there are so many missiles that they launch.
Is there any other airport that is operational in Venezuela?
Yes. The Maiquetía, the international airport that serves Caracas, is operating.
Okay.
I mean, it's not all the are suspended because United States established that. They order what we can do in our region. Even many flights were suspended here in San Vincent, because they will use the space, the airspace of the region to invade and bomb another country. No, so many of the I don't know if it's already they reopen the space. I don't have no information. I didn't read anything that they published, but in our case, our airport didn't suffer any damage, so we can use the airport. Internally flying that I guess that they can use internally for national flight, but not sure if they are using now. Our people are on the street. I guess that nobody is spending to fly from one state to the other, because our people are on the street protesting and claiming the return of our president and his wife, Celia Flores. So I guess that they are not. Yesterday was a huge demonstration of solidarity and expressing the how you can feel very bad for something. The angry is maybe the word that our people show on the street. We can listen in the declaration with the media how they say how many people were claiming to return our president. So the situation yesterday and today continue that, and they are concentrating in different places. In Miraflores, that is the house of the government, where where work the president, the office of the president, and they are concentrated there from yesterday and today the same. So I guess that today will be the same. Actually, the vice president, I mean, The head of the government is the vice president now, temporarily, until we achieve to return the president.
And that person is Delcy Rodriguez. Yeah.
Delcy Rodriguez, yes. And she said yesterday, also in his declaration to the media, here is just one president, and it's Nicolas Maduro. The only president that we have is Nicolas Maduro. So,
and that is certainly according to the Constitution of Venezuela.
Constitution of Venezuela, okay. Yes. Because until there are some way to declare the absence of the president. One is that the president dead. Another is the National Assembly declare the absence of the president. And they can declare the absence of the president because one medical team declare him not that he's ill for mental health or the health. The other is the Supreme Court, and because it's dead. No, there are just that way of declare the and none of them happened. Was a forced absence of the president. So the Supreme Court declared that until the forced absence of the president, the vice president take the office of the president, and that have no time. The time is according with the return of the president. So all the duties, all the government continue working, and the Bolivarian revolution is alive. Is alive.
Okay. From the current population is about 28.5 million. Is that correct? Of Venezuela?
30 million.
30 million,
yes,
correct.
Yes. Oh, and allow me just 1 minute to read because we launched we launched a communique yesterday, and I would like to read just a couple of paragraphs that say this act constitutes a flagrant violation of the Charter of the United Nations, especially Articles 1 and 2, which is inscribed the respect for the sovereignty, the legal equality of state, and the prohibition of the use of force. Such an aggression threatens international peace and stability, especially in Latin America and the Caribbean, and put the life of millions of people at serious risk. The objective of this attack is none other than to seize Venezuela's strategic resources, particularly its oil and mineral, in an attempt to forcibly break the political independence of the nation. They will not succeed after more than 200 years of independence. The people and their legitimate government remain steadfast in defending their sovereignty and their inalienable right to decide their own destiny. The attempt to impose a colonial war to destroy the republican form of government and force a regime change in alliance with the fascist oligarchy will fail like all previous attempts. Since 1811, Venezuela has faced and defeated empires. When foreign power bombed our coast in 1902, President Cipriano Castro proclaimed, "The insolent," open quote, "the insolent foot of the foreign has desecrated the sacred soil of the homeland." Today, with the moral of Bolivar, Miranda, and our liberator, the Venezuelan people rise again to defend their independence in the face of imperial aggression. That is part of the communique that Venezuela launched yesterday. We sent to different media. And what is now our worry, not just internally, nationally in Venezuela, is a worry about what can happen in the region of the Caribbean and Latin America. Because if Trump achieve to, or also treat our country, that is a big country with forces, military forces and everything, what he could do with any other country in Latin America, the Caribbean, or even the world. So when he said Greenland, I think it's Greenland, no?
Yeah, Greenland.
Greenland.
Have
Canada.
to belong
Canada.
to us.
Canada.
Canada. He can do it. I mean, why not? If for Trump, Bolivia, that now have a president aligned with him means that we'll do wherever he want that he do, no? But Bolivia has lithium, and the lithium is necessary for the technology industry. And he said, well, I don't like more this president there. Bring me that president and I will manage and administrate that country. If he said, listen, I want the agriculture of San Vincent and the Grenadines, bring me the president and I will put a president there, a prime minister there.
Prime Minister, yes.
Prime minister there. If he said, listen, I want the banana of Barbados and the tourism of Barbados, bring me that president, I will, the prime minister or prime minister, and I will put one there. He can do it. He can do it because he showed that he can do that. So if the region of the Caribbean and Latin America is not united, if the United Nations is not doing anything to stop Donald Trump, we are in the phase and in the age of the Monroe Doctrine, where Venezuela, this region is the backyard of the United States of America, and well, he is the president of Latin America. It's a new country called Latin America and the Caribbean, and it's part of the 58 star of United States.
Pigeon? So, any question for Ambassador? I remember you're going to come back.
Yes. It seems to me like all-out war is possible. So I'm wondering if the Venezuelans are prepared for that.
We were prepared for, and we are prepared for that. Of course, the power, the military power of the United States is superior to in the air. In the air is superior. In the number of bomb is superior. But in the land, if face to face, body to body, we have to fight against them, because you cannot manage a country just launching bomb. You have to kill everybody, and if you have nobody to manage, you have no country. The human have to be one of the necessary instrument, to say it in some way, to run a country. In that way, if the government and the military of Trump, they have the balls. I don't know how to say that. If they have courage to enter in our country by land, they will face and they will encounter. They will face the power of Venezuelan people, face to face, body to body. So we are prepared. We have more than 4 million of militia ready to fight for our country. Maybe we have no the number of bombs that they have, the missiles that they have, the F-32, F. But we have people there that are going to defend our country with their life. We are people. I include in that.
Yes, Pigeon, go ahead.
Is there any truth to the story that I've heard that a significant section of the Venezuelan population actually welcome the American action?
Well, remember that in Venezuela, the political division politically is there. I mean, there exists like here in other country, opposition and people that are belong to the government. No, I mean the party of the government, or they are showing sympathy with the revolution. The people of the extremely right-wing opposition, represented by the lady that escaped from Venezuela to receive a prize and everything, and well, that people that follow the opposition, that are not patriot, that they don't want the country, are agree with the invasion and the bomb, because they are outside also. They are not in our country. That opposition, yes, but it's not the majority. The majority are the Venezuelan that are patriot, that are nationalists, and they defend the land, even that they are from some part of the opposition, because in Venezuela exists many opposition, at least 14 parties. But if you can aggregate all in one, they are not the majority. Even they are not the majority. But in any case, you can find that those people that look with sympathy the invasion and the bomb, they are not nationally. Who want that, even if you are outside the country? Who can believe that I am happy that my country receive missile and bomb and kill people, even if I am not agree with Maduro, for example? I cannot understand that. But there are some people living outside, living abroad. I saw some manifestation in Spain, for example, from that part of the opposition, because there are so many Venezuelan living in Spain that they are, but it's not the majority. It's not the majority. And also, I saw many demonstrations in Barcelona and Madrid against the invasion and the kidnapping of the President Maduro.
Your picture? Dr. Cox, you I don't know if before you get in substantially to give an indication, I want to know if you have any question to the ambassador about the current situation.
Well, yeah, thank you. When as you say, when I get into whatever I want to say, I'll come back to saying thank you to everybody who's listening to us. Directly as regards this, there are two things here, Ambassador, that I need to say. I must say, firstly, is that I personally, on behalf of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I'm not a prime minister. I'm just a citizen of this country. That's what I am, an ordinary citizen. But citizenship is the highest office in this country. And so on behalf of myself, on behalf of our people, we are in full solidarity with the people and government of Venezuela. I understand this as a lawyer to be an illegal action. You must appreciate that our solidarity is not purely from the standpoint of geopolitics, meaning that we are from one region, Latin America and the Caribbean, but we've had wonderful relations with Venezuela over the years, especially during the period which began with late President Hugo Chavez. And so on behalf of the people of this country, I want to express our sadness as to this is a tragic day. You might not want me to use that word, but that's how I see it. It's a very, very tragic day for all of us. And so I allow me to express our genuine, sincere solidarity with the government and people of Venezuela. That's the first thing I want to say.
Thank you very much.
The second thing I want to say is that I want for you to let people fully understand, because based on what you're saying, the government and the administration of the country is still in the hands of the present government, the ruling government, before the Americans came. And so de jure, as legally speaking, we know who the government is. But de facto, what actually is happening, based on what you have said, the Americans have packed up and went back. The CIA is there, yes, but the country is being run by the vice president. Is this correct?
It's correct.
Okay, and so therefore this leads to this question, because as you correctly said, we're cleaning up now. We're going to find out how many people have been killed, and so on and so forth. Right? What is the immediate measures that is being taken? Firstly, to secure the country, because that security, as you appreciate, is fundamental. Right? As far as you know, because we know information is limited, okay? But as far as you know, what are the immediate measures we are taking to secure the country? And as regards the rest of our region, meaning from Argentina upwards, from Mexico downwards, from Barbados eastwards, to Belize westwards, right? What has been, do you know anything as to what has been the overall response directly to your government? So two things. Firstly, security, and secondly, what has been the spirit of the region in relation to this?
Yeah. Well, let me start with this. The President Maduro, before he was kidnapped, he signed a decree declaring the external commotion, is the call. When a country declare the external commotion, means that they have not to pass for the National Assembly and another institution, national institution, to mobilize the troop, mobilize the national security to defend the people, or everything to defend the people. No. So that decree was yesterday. The vice president, the first thing that she did was to send to the Supreme Court to declare the legality of that decree. No, and the Supreme Court, the only one that can declare the legality or not of a decree or a law. So that was the first thing. The second thing, the vice president called the National Defense Council. That is the meeting where they will take decisions regarding the country, that is integrated by the vice president, the president of the National Assembly, the court, the president of the court, the president of the moral power, that is in this moment is the attorney general, the minister of defense, and the high level military council. Also is there the council of vice president. Not just the vice president as herself, but we have a council of vice president, no? The social vice president, the information and communication and tourism vice president, the economy vice president. So there are five vice president. It's the structure of our government, and they belong and participate. So it's a national defense council integrated by all of them that will meet to govern with the the most important decision will be taken by them. No, so it's a group a team taking decision with all the powers. In our country, there are 5 powers, no? Electoral, executive, judicial, moral, and the political power. So all of them are integrated in that council. So that is I think it responds the first question, no? And the second question, remind me the
Yeah, it's about the response of the rest of the region, from Argentina upwards, Mexico downwards, everybody.
Correct.
What has been the response so far?
We receive the support and the expression of disagreement with what Donald Trump did in our country from many countries in the region and in the world, mainly China, Russia, Iran, that are our partner in different areas. We receive from the Caribbean also CARICOM meet, and they are and they express on some of the countries of the CARICOM, no? In Latin America, Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, Uruguay, Central America, also send Cuba, Nicaragua. So all of them are in support and condemning what the United States did, kidnapping our president. Some of them, I have to mention, some Chile also give the support, no? But some of them also are, I don't know, maybe they are afraid of what Trump can do with them, no? Like the president of Argentina. I think he's very afraid of what Trump can do, but because also if Trump say A, he say yes. If Trump say you have to do this, he did, and with a very big smile, no? The president of Ecuador also is one of the more snake in the relation with the United States. The actual president of Chile, no, I mean the one that won, not the actual, sorry, the one that won, Cast, I think is his name. So those presidents are like a snake. I have no other word to say, like a snake, trashing the country, and what our people is feeling now is and I have to say myself, is fury, no? Is something we are impotent to express really, because we have not to do it, no? But is what you can feel when you think that somebody stole something that belonged to you.
Any response from countries in Africa, Ambassador?
Many, I forgot to say that many African countries express their solidarity. In fact, they talked yesterday with our foreign affairs minister. Many of the people and the social movement in around the world, even here in St. Vincent, yesterday, the Solidarity Group organized a walk. We were walking from one point to another. They invite us. They invite our brother and sister from Cuba, and they sit between St. Vincent, Cuban, and Venezuelan. We walk, and the idea was to inform the people be conscious of what is happening in the region and in Venezuela. And that, I think this is very legitimate that a group of human, even if you are foreign or not, or you are a resident or not, you are national or not, or you are diplomat or not, you can try to inform and to keep the conscience of the people where you live, where you are working also, what is happening in your country and in the region, no?
All right. So before I bring in Dr. Cox, I want to at least give people an opportunity to call and engage you, Ambassador.
Yes.
They may have questions, they may have comments to make. So the number to call is 457-9997. And you can call via WhatsApp or just straight, and you'd be able to speak with and ask questions of Ambassador Perez. I noticed someone called and left a message. We don't really open messages live on the program because we don't know what those messages contain. So if you wish to call again, 457-9997 is the number, and you can call WhatsApp or straight. After that, we would just get into implications. Dr. Scott,
Cox, Baron
Dr.
Cox.
But in the meantime, yeah, we'd wait a few minutes for some calls. Any other in the meantime, Pijan?
I was wondering if we can expect solidarity beyond rhetoric. To what extent can we coalesce around Venezuela to take action rather than just simply express concern?
And when you say we, I mean in St.
The
Vincent,
region,
okay.
the region, including like the Alba State, CELAC, for instance.
Well, Alba State already expressed solidarity. They sent a statement. I know that the CELAC is going to meet, I think it's today or tomorrow, regarding the issue of Venezuela. I know that CARICOM, the three countries that are the head of the council that meet also and express solidarity. Action, when you say action, the only action that they can take is to express solidarity and to denounce that, because I think being involved in a war in another country against the power of United States, even United States doesn't want to be involved in the war between or the special situation that have Russia with Ukraine, no, and also Taiwan or China. They don't want China. They don't want to be involved. They involved in another way, no, selling guns and armies and weapons and everything, bomb, missile, but and giving money. But they are when belong to the action, they don't want that their people die in a war or in an action that they know that they could die. So in that way, they are very I don't remember the word in English.
What's it in Spanish?
Miedosos. Miedo. Scared.
They are frightened.
Yeah.
Scared, frightened. Yes.
Yeah. They are coward.
Yes.
Is the name.
Probably is the
Coward.
best word. Yeah.
They are coward. To die in another war. No.
If I may, Cecil, I think here it's a fundamental question you're asking, and the ambassador is getting to this key thing. Chairman Mao, right, who ran the Chinese Revolution in 1949, Mao Zedong, he once said that power ultimately flows from a barrel of a gun. This is what we're getting at here. Now,
Dr. Cox, can I just interrupt and ask you to remember your points? There's a call online. I would rather just take the call. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, my friend.
Good morning to you.
That guy who was speaking, he come from Venezuela.
Yes, he is from Venezuela.
Yeah. I would like to tell him he must try and humble.
What exactly do you mean? Oh, he's gone. Yeah, I guess he has humbled himself. Yes, sorry.
Yes,
Dr.
no, I was
We are
saying.
humble.
Yes, I was saying that the issue here is that you have a very powerful, well, recognized by most as the most powerful military force in the world, and so therefore, what can we really do? What can a tiny nation like St. Vincent do? There are two things here. Firstly, we have to call for the respect of international law. You understand? This is the foundational basis of this argument. And secondly, international morality. Respect for both of those two things. And even if we don't have any military might, okay? We don't have technological might or anything of that sort. We have a moral responsibility to demand that the principles of contemporary international law are respected, okay? And international morality, okay, is upheld. Let us be clear. As the ambassador said, the Charter of the United Nations, which is the constitution of contemporary international law, makes it absolutely
Can you
clear.
hold a minute for me? I'm just going to ask this person to either hold on or call back. Hi, good morning. Welcome to the program. Can I ask you to just hold on or call back, whichever is your choice?
I'll hold on.
Okay, fine. Yes, Dr.
Yes. So the Charter of the United Nations is the constitution, the backbone of contemporary international law. As the ambassador said, the first two articles makes it clear that we must refrain from the use of force and the threat of force, not just the use of force, the threat of force. Now, let's take St. Vincent. This is not long, but I need for us to understand.
Explain it.
I need for us to understand what this is about. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a small country of 150 square miles, right? And 110,000 people cannot survive in this world unless those two things are respected: international law and international morality. Okay? So therefore, even if we do not have military might, money, whatever it is, okay, for our very survival as an independent nation in this neighborhood where force, you understand, seems to want to determine everything, we have an obligation to ensure that we raise our voice and say international law and international morality must be respected. The reason for that is our very existence. It's an existential question for us in international law.
All right, so let's hear from the person and then we can add to that. Yes, sorry, but thanks for holding. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good morning, gentlemen, and
good morning.
Good morning to the ambassador. I empathize with what the ambassador is saying, but my question is to the ambassador: does Venezuela have any intelligence agencies? Because how can a military force comes into your country and take the head of state, and there is no intelligence and that, and just take the head of state out and with no fighting back and nothing. So that's my question to the ambassador. Do they have intelligence agency? And really, what can Venezuela do? Because Venezuela does not have the manpower to fight with the United States, whether it's on ground or in air. That's my question.
Well,
are you going off or are you staying on?
No, I can stay if you want me to stay.
Okay, fine. Sure. I don't want to engage the ambassador. Go ahead, ambassador.
Well, we have intelligence. Yes, we have intelligence and we have technology. But when you're the country that have the largest technology around the world that can eliminate, what do you think that was the intention to establish a radar in Grenada, and Grenada say, hey, wait, I have to consult. And they install it in Trinidad and Tobago. What the radar can do? Do you think that is not a way to eliminate the possibility of detect any kind of a drone or the furtive drone that they use, or they have the technology not to be detected even with a helicopter. We know that the personnel that protect the president, they die. Most of them die because they confront the forces. And was a operation there where they had all the possibilities, technology and everything. The general that explained yesterday the process also say, and Trump was very happy to say that he watched all the process with technology, with like watch a program, a TV program, because they have all the technology. Even they have technology that they are selling or giving to Ukraine to launch missiles to Russia that can be not detected, some of them, and Russia can stop some of them. But listen, the last time they hit a city of Russia where they destroy, and they hit a civilian also. So we have intelligence, and we have to know, we have to research what happened. We have to know and research what happened, why our technology couldn't detect the missiles to stop them. Apparently, I heard that apparently some of the missiles were destroyed in the air before they touch the ground, but many of them hit it. So we have to research, and our intelligence have to do it. I can when we have the information, we will provide information.
Okay, but do you believe that the president was sold out by someone close to him?
I cannot.
I mean that because I found it very hard that military might would come into a country and go directly to it and find the president directly where he's staying. So, do you believe he was sold out?
Well, I cannot tell you now. I mean, we have not information. We have theories, and maybe I can agree with you that maybe it was sold out. Maybe well, I can tell you what the New York Times say. The New York Times say that the CIA bought and penetrate the security of the president, and have one or many member that they bought to provide information. Is what they say. I cannot. I'm repeating what the New York Times say, according with some sources that they have, but I cannot ratify or not or deny, because we have not. We didn't yet have the information, the official information. I can build theories and give my opinion, but that is not what is going to be the truth. No, the truth is that we have to wait until we research and discover if what the New York Times say is true.
Okay, my final question, my final comment is that someone is $50 million richer today than they were yesterday.
Well,
so
maybe that.
All right,
was
thanks for
used.
calling.
Maybe that was used to pay the what the CAA say that they got from Venezuelans.
Yes.
May I make a general historical comment on this matter?
Yes.
Or you have a call? Take
I
the
don't have the call. I have a call. I just want us to get into your section.
Yeah, but I just want to make, because I think this is an important historical comment.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
If you look from the Second World War to now, look carefully. All the revolutionary leaders, it's only one survived and died a natural death. His name is Fidel Castro. Every other one, without exception, whether you call Thomas Sankara, you call what's his name from Guinea-Bissau, Amilcar Cabral, right? You call what's his name from Congo, Lumumba, you name it. The only one who survived, right, is Fidel Castro. Every other person was murdered. And you might say Mandela survived, but then Mandela survived how? Look at that. There's a different discussion. I don't want to get into that now. So what am I saying? Even Commander Hugo Chavez, some might want to tell me he died naturally. I doubt that. That's my serious doubt. I have no evidence. So two things here. One, you're right, Ambassador. I agree with you. To say this or that is to speculate.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have real evidence. It's to speculate. The speculation might be correct, but it's still a speculation until you have the evidence. That's the first point. But the second point is also very important, which is this. Irrespective of the intelligence, irrespective of how much you prepared, Venezuela is a nation of 30 million people. America is a nation of 300 million people. It's 10 times bigger. And in terms of economy, technology, and so on, we could also put those things in scale. And irrespective of what intelligence you have, you understand? People have counterintelligence. And if they're 10 times bigger than you, right? More than likely, their counterintelligence is 10 times bigger than yours. What we have to deal with here is objective reality, objective facts. We can't get around that. So we can speculate about it, but speculation would not get us the truth. As you say, we have to find the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Cox, let's get into your side of the thing. All of this, what implications it would have for us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean,
yes,
wider bases, and also the world. Some of which we've been touching on, but let's get to that.
Yes, well, before we get to that, I just want to say it's a privilege to be here. And I want to thank you and Mr. Pijan and WEFM for allowing me to be part and parcel for active citizenship, so to speak. And I want to thank our listeners across the globe, wherever you are listening to us. And also that the issue this morning is not an issue for Venezuela, right? It's not even an issue for Latin America and the Caribbean. It's an issue for the world. We must understand that very, very clearly. Right? And we can get into that. But let's deal with specifics. There are those who said, oh, this is not our quarrel, and it has nothing to do with us. That is such a short-sighted and misinterpretation of what is happening. The ambassador mentioned it. I will tell you concretely, right? From the time this happened, many flights, you understand, were canceled in this country or postponed. In other words, what has happened is that St. Vincent's airspace was closed, not by St. Vincent, not by the authorities of this country. The airspace of this country was closed, you understand? Effectively by the United States of America. And its actions out there. Now, what does that mean, Mr. Wright? First and foremost, you might say, oh, it might mean that a few people can't travel to Venezuela. No, they can't travel anywhere. Mm-hmm. America, Venezuela, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So people who came home and want to go back to America, Canada, whatever, for their jobs, you understand? You better wait, sisters and brothers. Wait until this thing is clear up. But then you say, okay, fine, we understand it. That might be 100, 200 people. I don't know. I do not know. Right? But then what happens to tourism? Tell me what happens to tourism. Because once that closes down, the airspace is closed down. Tourists cannot come here and they cannot leave here. It's an elementary fact, okay? This is just one elementary little thing. I want to demonstrate to Vincentians and to the public that to say that this is not our business and it has nothing to do with us, you really and truly don't understand. You understand the gravity of what we're speaking about. And as I said, I'm not making this up. This is real. Now, outside of that, let us be clear. And now that I'm talking about air, let me move from there then. From there to move forward. The airport that was built, what we call AIA.
Before you go on, Dr. Cox, I just want to share with, if you don't mind,
yes,
even as you raised
please.
the question of airline services. Yesterday, a communique came from the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, basically saying that they wish to advise members of ongoing flight cancellations and disruptions affecting the region arising from the current situation in Venezuela and related airspace restrictions. Based on information received to date, the following updates apply: has suspended flights to Curacao, Aruba, St. Martin due to the closure of airspace around Curacao. US-based flights to ABC Islands have been cancelled to date. That was yesterday.
Yes.
JetBlue B6 flight from JFK to Port of Spain was diverted and subsequently returned to JFK, that is New York. JetBlue B6 and Delta DL flights to Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Grenadines, and Grenada scheduled for today. That was yesterday. They were cancelled. American Airlines flight departing Port of Spain at 6 a.m. Has been delayed. JetBlue has confirmed cancellation of operations to Southern Grenadines and Southern Caribbean, and Guyana. Delta Airlines has confirmed cancellations as well, and so on and so forth. So I'm just reading from what was stated to concretize the point you're making.
Right. So
I just want to. That was yesterday, please, people who are listening, not today. That was yesterday. I don't know what obtains, as the ambassador said earlier. I don't know what obtains today, but that was yesterday.
So what you're looking at here is what you would call, for putting it mildly, dislocation. You understand? But it's not just dislocation in travel. It's not just dislocation in tourism, but it's economic dislocation. It's a broader term. It's economic dislocation. And that in of itself, for a 2x4 small country like ours, which depends so much on these things, which look outwards, you understand, is fundamentally important for us to understand. Okay? So this is in a very practical and real way, I have just demonstrated to you, right, what direct consequence could mean, right? And what it actually means for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But this is what is called a composite, COMPOSITE, right? A composite situation. What do I mean by that? There are many levels to it that we have to appreciate. Let us go into just a few of them, because I don't want to sound like some priest here this morning, but you have asked me to come here to share some views. One, do we remember that the AIA that we have, which country gave us the first set of equipments? Where did they come from? Do we remember this or we don't? A matter of fact, the Prime Minister of this country, the former Prime Minister, please, that's accidental.
Sorry, former Prime Minister Dr. Gonzalez.
Dr. Honorable Ralph Gonzalez, the man who was Prime Minister at the time, he took Commander Chavez up to the mountains at Stubbs, and they were talking and so on. And that former Prime Minister said, well, Hugo Chavez said, so where are we going to build this airport? And Ralph said, we're going to build it here. Who will say, you crazy? And Ralph, you know what was Ralph's response? He said this, and you're more crazy than me because you're going to build it for me. What I'm trying to say is this, that the dislocation that we're going to have out of this, the possible dislocation that we're going to have out of this is fundamental. I don't know if you know, but Maduro had forgiven debt of more than $100 million, you understand, to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Okay? So what you're going to see here is this. We know that the American government wanted what is called regime change. Okay? And so they kidnapped, they didn't capture. You have to be very, very careful with these news reports. You hear them say capture. What? Capture who? Was he a bandit? What was he? Why, how did you capture him? You understand? Did he do anything to you? Was he trying to escape from the law? You kidnapped him. That is what you did. You went and kidnapped him. So what you're going to have here now is this, that they don't like the political practice, the political ideology, you understand, of the present government. And so what needs to be done is to do what? To change that. right? That is what regime change mean in this sense. Now, the fact remains, how does that change vis-a-vis St. Vincent and the Grenadines? If we look at the record of our relation between, with Venezuela, from 2001 to now, the benefits to St. Vincent and the Grenadines over that period, I don't know if you remember, there was something called Vision Miracle or Miracle Vision, I don't remember what it was called, where hundreds of our people went and got their eyes tested and fixed and so on and so on. I could go on and on and on. But what I'm trying to tell you is this, that there is going to be, if the Americans succeed with what they want to do with regime change, an ideological shift, a paradigm ideological shift, okay? And that cannot be in the interest of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That cannot be in the interest of those who are part of what we call ALBA, right? Which means the Bolivarian alternative for Latin America and the Caribbean. Now, I want us to understand clearly that word alternative, right, means a lot. In terms of political philosophy, do you know that in the 24 years that the former government ran this country, they never went to the IMF once? And the reason for this is because there were alternative sources of funding, you understand, that you could go to and do all the social programs and so on and so forth that we did, from education to health and housing and so on and so forth. All of that is on record because there was an alternative, you understand? An alternative that you could work with and work through, okay, to achieve what you wanted to achieve. This is not going to take place if the Americans succeed with what they want to do. I do not want to speculate as to what will happen down the road and how it's going to happen. But what we do know is that they're dissatisfied with what is present, right? And that is why they want to change it. This is no if and buts about that. So we can therefore say for sure that what is happening now and how things are run is not going to be like that if the Americans succeed. But let's go further. We have had a foreign policy over the last 24 years. I don't know if you recall, but it was guided by a very basic principle, which was this: friends of all, we strive for a better world. That was the basic foreign policy that we had. And so I do not know if you recall, but the former prime minister, when all of this was happening, he said there needs to be a conversation between Venezuela and the United States, a mature conversation, okay? That mature conversation, the Americans are willing to conduct with bombs, with missiles. Whether the Caribbean like this or not, it seemed to me that everybody just think about one simple thing: all of the Venezuelans are going to run out of Venezuela and come to other shows in the Caribbean. But let us understand this, and Mia Motley made this very clear in a press briefing yesterday. There are 5 frontline states, okay, in the Caribbean that have to deal with this Venezuela issue. Okay, there are 5 frontline states, and one of those frontline states is St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The reason for that is our geographic position, right, in terms of our closeness to Venezuela. But that is not the only reason. The second is our geopolitical relation. You understand? If you recall, it was, again, we had something it was called what? The Argyle Declaration or the Argyle Resolution, or I don't remember exactly what the term we used. When we decided, when the then Prime Minister of the country, Dr. Al Gonzalez, decided, look, we must intercede in this matter and try to get this matter settled between Venezuela and Guyana. But what must be noted here is this. It was what? A conversation. Nobody turned, you understand what I'm saying, to violence. In this case, this is not the case at all. While that former Prime Minister called for a discussion, called for a mature conversation between the United States and Venezuela, right? You notice that that was not heeded at all. In the case of Guyana, it was heeded by both countries. In this case, that's not the case at all. So what are we looking at? We're looking at a situation which the ambassador has aptly described. If you want Cecil Ryan as prime minister, fine. But Richard is prime minister, listen, we're going to get rid of Richard and Cecil is going to be prime minister because Cecil has to do as I want him to do. And if he doesn't do it, you understand, right? He will not be prime minister either. Okay? So this what we're looking at here is that there are four elements that we must understand very clearly. Firstly, that Venezuela is geographically close to our region. Geographically, we cannot escape that. St. Vincent, as regardless of what you think, St. Vincent is not in Timbuktu. It is where it's at. It's where it's at. It's near to Venezuela. That's one. Two, over the years, we have cultivated particular foreign and political relations with Venezuela. We cannot avoid that. Three is that this region has always been known as what? A zone of what? Peace that has now been broken completely. You understand what I'm saying? Where does that lead us down the road? We do not know. We cannot know as it stands now. Okay? And four, it is absolutely clear, if not to anyone else, at least to me, that the American government will enforce its wish upon this region, right? And we are the smallest of the region. The ambassador mentioned the Monroe Doctrine. That is James Monroe of 1823. And when that doctrine came into place, the idea was that, okay, Europeans stay over there, you don't come here anymore. That was the basic idea, first and foremost, right? And then Roosevelt came with what was called the big stick policy. Mm-hmm. You would behave the way we want you to behave, okay? What we're looking at here is a situation where the United States government, as it stands now, is going to ensure that everybody falls in line. And if you don't fall in line, you understand? If you listen to Marco Rubio, you might tend to think, what? That Cuba is next. Mm-hmm. Listen to him carefully. And you might say, well, Byron Cox is talking a whole pile of nonsense and foolishness. Well, let me give you an example, a contemporary example. Do you remember they began with a place called Afghanistan? After Afghanistan, they then went to Iraq and dealt with a man called Saddam Hussein. After they were finished with him, they went to Libya and dealt with a man called Colonel Gaddafi. After that, they then went to Syria, you understand? And then Iran was supposed to be the next domino. Don't fool yourself, you know. To ignore history, to ignore objective reality, which is in front of you, okay? And dream up things, ain't gonna help you. And you cannot, I have always said, one must never replace fact with opinion. One must never do that. So the facts are in front of us. This is where we are at with those four things. Now, where does St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or what I think that ought to be a response from a Vincentian standpoint, what I think, right? One, that we ought to insist in terms of a policy, the expression of a policy, that international law and morality is respected. We ought to insist this thing. If we cannot be afraid to do so, we must do so. Secondly, we have to coordinate with CARICOM, okay? Because we are all part and parcel of this this CARICOM community, and together as one voice, okay? We have to understand what this means for all of us together. Thirdly, we have to look at what it means for St. Vincent and the Grenadines in concrete ways. We cannot, Mr. Ryan, sit down and say, you know, this is something that doesn't concern us, which leads us to number 4. which is what I began with when you asked me our solidarity with the people and government of Venezuela. Because sooner or later, you know what, Cecil Ryan? We are going to need it as well. We have to understand this. We are going to need it as well. So what we are looking at here, as I said, is a composite. It's something that is made up of many, many facets, okay? And to actually discuss this question in real terms, in real sense, okay? As you know, cannot be done in one program. I earlier mentioned something to you, which I want to come back to just a little bit. Think of it carefully. Think of it carefully. From Patrice Lumumba in 1960-61, right, to Amilcar Cabral in 1973, to Thomas Sankara in 1986-87, to Maurice Bishop in 1983, okay? I could go on and go on and go on. All of the forces that have tried to deal with a new policy or a policy which the American government does not like, they all died. They all paid for it. There was Jacob Arbenz in 1954 in Guatemala. There was Salvador Allende in 1973 in Chile. And I could go on, okay? This is not a dream. And what I want to, why am I telling you all of this? For what reason? As I said before, I pointed out, only Fidel has survived. Only Fidel. Everybody else died, right? But what I want you to understand, which is a mistake is being made, Mr. Ryan, P. is that this is Donald Trump. Oh no, this is not Donald Trump. You understand? Donald Trump is as American as apple pie. This is a policy of the United States of America. It has been its practice, you understand, from the beginning to the end. There's no if and buts about this. So the idea that this is Donald Trump, oh no, this is just the latest version of the same product. We need to get that clear. Now, the other thing is this, and I think Pigeon was pointing to this, and it's very, very important that we understand history in that sense. The American generals say, well, we're the most powerful, we're the most this, we're the most that, and we're the most everything. Do you know, Mr. Ryan, I'm sure you know, that in the 1960s, they started a war with a place called Vietnam because the French realized they couldn't handle Vietnam because it was really the French who were trying to maintain the imperialist power, you understand, in Vietnam. America took over the war. Guess what happened now? With all of the military might, you know what they had to do? Pack up and leave, as the Jamaicans would put it. They had to pack up and leave, right? The same thing with a place called Afghanistan, a backward, broken country with no money and so on. But guess what happened, Ambassador? They had to pack up and leave. They had to pack up and leave. This is the reality. They ran away and leave their best equipment on the ground in Afghanistan. This is just fact. I am not making this thing up. You understand? So the idea that pure military might on its own, you understand, will always win the day for you is not necessarily true. And contemporary history, American military contemporary history, has proven this point. You understand? Has proven this point. Therefore, the challenge that we face in this Caribbean of ours, we don't have any military might. We don't. But do we have other things that can sway this, right? But above all things, Cecil, we must not ignore history and we must not just roll over and die. You understand? We must not do that. Right? Whatever little we can say and whatever little we can do, we ought to do it. We must do it. I don't know if you realize this, Mr. Ryan, but let me give you a couple of little examples which I think are important. There's a man called Abraham Traore, who is the president of Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is one of the poorest countries in West Africa. I was there many times. At least 4 times I went to that country. Okay? When he came to power, the Americans decided that, look, we have to get rid of this man guess what happened? The youth of West Africa didn't just organize around him to protect him, but they organized the world. You understand? They had a day where the whole world came around and said, hands off Abraham Traore. What did we do with Venezuela? We are acting after the fact. You understand what I'm saying? We remain quiet, generally speaking, while this was going on. That is what happened. And we even had certain CARICOM people who seem to want to instigate and support this. You understand? Not being able to see down the road what is going to happen to us. You might not like what I'm saying, but I'm not making up a story here. I'm just recording facts. You understand? They say when your neighbor house on fire, what are you supposed to do? You understand? Because sooner or later it's going to spread and burn you down. That is the reality that we face, you know. So therefore, I am saying that even though now it's a point of responding, we are being responsive rather than being proactive. You understand what I'm saying? We still cannot remain silent. We must speak, okay? Because we all have something at stake here.
Let me
Yes.
ask you, as a student of international law,
Yes.
can you comment on the illegality of the U.S. action?
Yes, of course. Okay, so firstly, as you may know, I want to spread this out so that you understand international law, the way it functions, right? The First World War finished in 1918. It was followed by something called the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. On the Treaty of Versailles, something called the League of Nations was established. That League of Nations tried its best to establish rules which will govern the behavior of states, okay? It failed for one reason. The most powerful nation after that war was obviously the United States of America. It did not become a member of the League of Nations. And once the most powerful nation was not part of it, okay, it was doomed to fail. So fast forward a little bit more. So by 1945, we had the Second World War. And at the end of it, it was Poland. It was Poland who proposed that we have a new organization. This was called the organization, United
Nations?
United Nations Organization, UNO, okay? And I think originally there were 50 states. But fundamentally, certain things happened. One is that it created a fundamental charter. And that charter, its aim was what? Peace. And therefore, it made it illegal not only to use force to resolve, okay, your disputes, but the threat of force. So America broke the law twice. Before they actually invaded, they threatened Venezuela. So they had already broken the law before this happened. You're not supposed to do it. You understand? The threat of force, not just force. So they broke the law twice. Because when you start to pile up all these boats and so on out there, you understand what I'm saying? Seizing people, oil tanker, bombing this, sinking ships, right? Although you haven't yet hit Venezuela itself, that is the threat of force. According to international law, that is illegal. So they use the threat of force and then they use force itself. Okay? That is first and foremost the fundamental basis of this. Secondly, tell me in which realm we're going to be living in where a man is democratically elected in his own country. You have produced not a shred of evidence of any crime that this man has done. Not a shred of evidence, not against you, not against anybody else. But you then ignore the sovereignty of that state. Sovereignty, you understand, is the basis of all contemporary international law. It's only recently, human beings, in terms of criminal law and so on, right, have become subjects of international law. The original subject of international law are states. You notice what it is called? What? National. It is between what? Nations. That is why it's called international law. Because it's between nations. Okay? So the first thing you have to do is to respect people's sovereignty. You understand what I'm saying? Now, let us backtrack a little bit so that people are clear as to what I'm saying here. Do you remember that there was a man named Saddam Hussein? He was president of Iraq, right? And we were told, and the man they used to do this, was a black man with origins from our Caribbean, a man named Colin Powell. He's now dead, right? And he went to the United Nations and he said they have weapons of mass destruction. So we're going over there, you understand, to get rid of that, okay? Because they threaten international peace and security. What has happened? They went there, they destroyed the country, 4 million people dead, or displaced, okay? And after searching the entire country, guess what not, Cecil? They have not found not a single piece of evidence that there was ever weapons of mass destruction in the country. Same thing now is happening to Venezuela. Without any evidence whatsoever. You understand what I'm saying? America has broken international law and disrespected the sovereignty of Venezuela. This is just a fact. Yeah, because nobody has produced any evidence whatsoever that Mr. Maduro has done anything wrong, that he's involved in any drugs or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody has produced a single piece of evidence of this thing to this day. A matter of fact, as the ambassador himself said, he used the word research. That's the word he used, research. That research was to do what? Gather what? Evidence, right? All the research has gathered no evidence whatsoever that Venezuela has ever been involved or is involved in this business. There's no evidence whatsoever. We know the countries, all of us know them. I'm not here to call names of the countries involved, but we know the countries involved, right? So therefore, the idea that trafficking in drugs is some basis for doing this nonsense is foolishness. Foolishness for the simple reason there is absolutely no evidence whatsoever to prove this. You understand? And evidence is what convicts you or does what? Liberates you. You understand what I'm saying? So that is part of it. Let's go on as regards international law. I know, as a student of international law, as a person who studied this subject, we are all of us, bound by rules which governs our behavior. You understand? As I have established, and as the world knows, the Constitution of Contemporary International Law is the Charter of the United Nations. That is the Constitution of Contemporary International Law. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but the Americans under Barack Obama and then later Joe Biden, they say we're going to have a new order with new rules. You understand? The former prime minister of this country, Ralph Gonsalves, asked, well, whose order and which rules? I don't know if you remember, but he always said it. Whose order and which rules? Okay? Is it that you're making up these rules as you go along? That's the first question, but that's not the fundamental question. The fundamental question is this: who gives the order? As Gonsalves has asked, and what rules? Now, the order is only one, according to Americans. What we say is what goes. You understand? What does that mean? It means that there's no international law. There's only your law. There's no international law. We cannot, what we are facing here is the international community resorting to the rule of the jungle. That is what we're seeing here. You understand? And the Americans might think that they have the authority and that they can go around the world bullying everybody. But let me explain something to you. I know you know it, but probably those of us who try to follow this are not observing what is happening. The Americans promise a man named...
just give me a minute,
yes.
I'll come back to you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, the Americans promised a man named Mikhail Gorbachev, who was the last president of the Soviet Union, that if he agreed, right, to the reunification of what was then East and West Germany, right? The Democratic Republic of Germany, People's Democratic Republic of Germany, the German Democratic Republic, and the Federal Republic of Germany, that NATO would not move 1 inch to the east. He said that. They guarantee that, okay? Then guess what they did? They moved NATO right up to the border of Russia, right up to what is called the Baltic states. There are 3 Baltic states: Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. Right up to there. Mr. Putin said to them, listen, stop this nonsense. We are not going to tolerate it. Okay? In 2008, they went to Hungary, and they then decided that Georgia and the Ukraine can join NATO. Mr. Putin said, look, listen, this nonsense ain't gonna work. They encourage Georgia to do what they want with the parts of that republic that were Russian speaking. Mr. Putin went over there and taught them a lesson. You must stop this nonsense. You understand? He marched right up to Tbilisi, the capital of Georgia, and turned back. He said, next time I will not turn back. You understand? Georgia learned to behave themselves. Okay? Now, they decide that Ukraine must be part and parcel of this thing. Mr. Putin said, listen to me. This is not going to happen. 2014, they overthrew the democratically elected government of the Ukraine. And so they started to murder, commit genocide against the Russian-speaking population of Ukraine. Mr. Putin had had enough. Everybody, including the most pro-American economists that you have in this world. You understand? Jeffrey Sachs and others. They all say what I'm saying to you. You can go and look it up. You don't have to believe me. Mr. Putin said, look, I've had enough of this thing. And so he went in February of 2022. Okay? And he said, look, this is going to stop. He could have marched right up to the doors of Kyiv. He stopped. Okay? And he said, listen, we must implement the Minsk agreement. There were these. Minsk is the capital of Belarus. Okay? And they were agreed at Minsk. They were signed at Minsk. Hollande, who was then the president of France, and Merkel, Angela Merkel, who was then the chancellor of Germany, say, we are the guarantors. We will ensure that these agreements are carried out. You know what? Angela Merkel, go and read her biography. Don't agree with me. She publicly declared in her biography, we lied to Russia. We wanted to give Ukraine the chance, okay, to be fully militarized so that we could deal with Russia. Now, they have been trying to deal with Russia for what? The 4th year of the war. This is what I'm coming to. I'm coming to this thing. We were talking about, somebody called in and asked about Venezuela's intelligence and so on, right? Mm-hmm. And the American general has boasted that they have the best army, nobody could beat them, and so on and so on and so on. Well, let me tell you this. They have been trying for 4 years. 4 years. The war is in its 4th year. You understand? And Russia has beaten the hell out of all of them combined. But outside of that, Russia has created something called the Oreshnik. It's a missile. It is virtually undetectable. It is virtually undetectable. What am I trying to tell you with all of this? I said that the Venezuela issue is a composite issue that you need to understand. Listen, Donald Trump needed to deliver some kind of victory to the right wing, to the neocons, the hawks, okay, in America. There are those like Kennedy who said that America should make Russia fish food. I don't know if you follow these things, you know, but this is my field. This is what I'm training. This is what I worked in all my life. Okay, so I need to follow it. Now, listen to me, because we need to understand this. They have been trying to fight Russia for 4 years. 4 years. And Russia has beaten the hell out of them. Outside that, I don't know if you know Mr. Ryan. I don't know if you know Pigeon Ambassador. I don't know if you know. But right now, they have about 39,000 economic sanctions against Russia. And it has all failed. They have tried every single thing. It has all failed. Okay? But outside of that, the Sahel countries of Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, okay, have decided, look, we've had enough of this. Get out France. And they chase France out, okay? And I don't know if you ever saw it, Ryan, but when they were doing all of that, guess outside of the national flag, guess which flag they flew? The Russian flag. Yes, the Russian flag. So America needed some way, some victory, because the unipolar world, which was established after the fall of the Soviet Union in 1989-90, right, and ran until Russia came back on its feet under Mr. Putin. You understand? They still believe this unipolar world exists. It doesn't anymore. And I say to you now, listen, because it's important. The challenge is China. China is on the rise. How are you going to stop them? There's no way you're going to stop them. But outside of China, you have Russia. And outside of Russia, you have a place called North Korea, which America can't mess with. These three. So America's power in this world, you understand, as a unipolar hegemon is over and done. You understand? It's over and done. But outside of that, you know of the BRICS, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And the BRICS, about a month ago, created something called the unit, which is a currency, you understand, that they will then be trading in. Doing what? Bypassing the United States dollar. So when we talk of this thing about oil in Venezuela, let us be very, very clear about something that most people seem not to understand. It's not just about the oil in Venezuela itself, but that Venezuela has the world's largest known reserve of oil. And when you create this unit and people start to trade in oil, the world's premier commodity, in US dollars, what do you think happens to the US dollar? Because remember, under Richard Nixon in 1971, the United States dollar became, okay, the world's currency, okay? So everybody trades in it. And therefore, America could do what? It could sell its treasury bills, right, to everybody, because everybody needs American dollars. Understand how the economics work. It is not just about the amount of oil that Venezuela has, right? But it's what that oil trade means. When you stop trading the US dollar, the United States economy is sooner or later going to collapse because nobody needs your money and therefore nobody is going to buy your treasury bills. We must understand these things. We must understand the nature of what we're talking about, the essence of what we're talking about. So it's not only because, Cecil, I'm sure you know, and Pigeon, I don't know if you know, but I'm sure Cecil knows that the country that produces the most refined oil in the world is the United States of America. It is the United States of America. That's a fact. Look it up. You understand? So it's not just about the quantity of oil that Venezuela have, but what that would mean for international trade and therefore the United States dollar.
We have to try and invite some calls because the ambassador has to leave shortly now.
Yes.
Well, shortly.
Well, I have a meeting at the virtual meeting.
All right. So let me invite persons who wish to call and make a contribution to do so now. 457-9997. You can call us direct or via WhatsApp. We take a few calls and to enable the ambassador to leave soon.
Yeah. And probably should ask them to address their call more to him. Their question more to him because he has, yes,
they would do
more
that.
to him, seeing that he has to leave.
Greetings, my brother. How are you?
Greetings, my brethren.
Time limit is in effect today because, as I indicated, the ambassador has to leave. So go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, brother. My brethren, the ambassador, and also Dr. Cox. Bungo Shaka here, Rastafari.
Nice to have you, brethren.
Yeah. Ambassador, I'd just love to sympathize with you and the government and people of Venezuela on behalf of the Rastafari community of St. Vincent Grenadines.
Thank you.
We do sympathize with you and your invasion of your sovereignty and your kidnapping of your president, which was legally obtained through democratic process. No matter how people perceive the election, how it go and how it went and so forth, the fact remains it's a constitutional elected president. So, but Ambassador, a question to you. I'm looking at the legal implication further down the road, especially the bogus charges they are placed on President Maduro, and especially when they went into somewhere in 1933 around the Constitution of the United States for charging for because remember he sometimes he displays the brother in South Africa who had displayed fire up in there and was brought to court and levy charge against him. So, but listening to on discussion, it seems like the American government won't have no big clout legally in these indictments against Maduro, okay, towards these charges and as a drug man and so forth, which they have no proof, and no proof have been given since they escalate in the invasion of destroying the boats, the so-called drug boats, haven't given no proof to the world as yet. So I'm looking at that whenever this case is to start. I know we have a lot of lawyers will be on his side.
Bongo Shaka, let the ambassador answer the question because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, ambassador.
But repeat the question, the specific question, the question only. What's your question again?
The question is that what will be the legal implications that is raging right now against Madeira, this kind of charges.
Okay, all right. So the ambassador got you. He got you. Yes,
well,
ambassador.
As far I read the eviction that they published, the Attorney General of United States is for narcotraffic and traffic of weapon. Just that. No, nothing else. No, there are no charges against the life or dictatorship or something. No, it's what they say, that they contribute with and they are part of something called Cartel de los Soles or some cartel, and they belong to the Tren de Aragua, that is something that doesn't exist anymore, that they contribute with the FARC, that is the guerrilla of Colombia, and ELN. So they create wherever they want to create, and they put in the paper and send to the they put in a form of law or with the language of law, and they send to the court, and with that they aspirate that the court condemn the president. The way that the court act in the United States depend on the state that they take. They did it in New York because there are more Republican judges in New York in the court, so they can manage that court. And we are sure, but when you elevate after one decision to the other, when they take the Supreme Court, let's see how many Democrat and Republican are, how is composed the court in that moment.
Ambassador, there's like a pattern that's been changed here. We see what went on in Central America, Panama, and such places, and with Noriega. So it was on the same January the 3rd that Noriega was captured and they were invaded 36 years ago. Now we seem to have
Bongo Shaka, you really want to use the word capture?
Yeah, they say capture.
So you're speaking after them. Okay, all right.
Yeah, Noriega. I'm speaking about Noriega.
I know you're talking about Noriega.
You know what?
We use kidnap because it was a kidnapping. They extract. They use extract and also, but it's a kidnapping.
Yeah, Ambassador. Right? You see, Ambassador, as Dr. Cox rightly said, because when Dr. Cox will speak, I was writing down some notes here. Because it is challenge for the dollar, right? Every nation considering the dollarization They right now they just get the message because the global south knows what happens to people who threaten the dollar hegemony, as they say, because the only protection right now is to move fast because
Bongo Shaka, let me suggest that you can come back, but the questions that you want to ask, Ambassador.
Oh, so I could come forward.
Yes. But if you have a question, another question from Ambassador, goes directly to the question or comment on the Venezuelan situation. Okay?
Well, that's what I'm dealing with.
No, let's not go. We don't have time to go to that. The ambassador has to leave, so I'm just suggesting to you. So you finished with your questioning?
So no, ambassador. Certain things it being like they say history repeats itself. But right now, what's going on in Venezuela is like a rhyme, And Dr. Cox said about the BRIC 6 and so forth. So we gotta look into these things. So what is the forward now? The government is still in control in Venezuela, but there's a lot of utterance, so especially from the Western media. So the government is still in control, the military is still in control, and so forth. And the vice president, who is a lady,
okay, Bongo Shaka, we went through that. The ambassadors outlined that already. Let's not go repeat that. So if you don't have any question, you can call back.
Because
all right. Thank you. So call back.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ambassador.
Sure.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much.
We have another call here, Ambassador. I don't know if you quickly, let me just take this one and see if it's for you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador. Good afternoon, Mr. Red. This is Kwame.
Hi, Kwame.
I want to quote to say, the Venezuelan revolution route is strong. Remember when they kidnapped to say when the first move out to say to say, tell them if the route is strong. You think if you move me, you pull out the route?
All right, Cecil Liverpool. Cecil Liverpool. All right.
The dispensation we live in the world today, the information is...
No transition.
But hear me, Kwame, the ambassador has to leave now. I'm sorry. So you have to...
You can call me.
Yeah, it's all right. That's all right. You can call back after the ambassador
You can
leaves.
call me, Kwame.
We can start to our strength and believe in time and history.
All right. Thanks for calling. All right, Ambassador. Thank you very much for being on the program.
I would like to stay.
No, I understand. We understand.
The situation is changing.
It's fluid. It's fluid. Yes, we know.
And we have to leave now.
All right.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you very much to your listener and your question. And I hope that I can have more opportunity to explain and answer more questions. But
well, if you do wish to be back, just let me know and we can arrange that.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here, and all the best. All right. So I'm sure Bongo Shaka and others will call again before the end of the program. We have a few more minutes on the program, and I'm sure we can ask them to call again.
That was the ambassador.
Oh, okay. All right. So Bongo Shaka and the person, there's a call coming now. Let's take it. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Michelle, I want to finish. I simply say the city performing art movement, the city art movement is
Kwame, you need to move away. Kwame, you need to move away from your device. Kwame, you need to move away from your device. We are having a feedback.
Okay, sorry. Now, what I'm saying, Mr. Ryan, never mind. I like anything that we say all the time. The imperialist dragon. It's coming home to people because they can't be accusing Russia to invade a people's country and supporting and doing the same thing in front of the naked eye. So the contradiction unfolds in itself. And the decadent people look at the criminal that they put in the office. Look at the money people do. The American working class people notice what happened in America in New York, the voter socialist. So Mr. Ryan, the contradiction, all these things we play out 9 minutes before the 200 and the March and the emancipation and the constitution. So you could understand entire day come and don't last forever. When you think as the good book say, as it is in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. The war will evolve to the new world order. the new world order is Africa. It begin with Africa carry come there. So we that is last gap at the imperialist power because the masses of the territory becoming clay. To understand the thing that she was saying, what we were saying, and the time will come, the knowledge can defeat the arm with all kind of weapon, you know. So time is coming when the world, people in America will come and
all right, Kwame, thank you. All right, Kwame.
So we have to people like we have to educate the masses.
All right. So thanks a lot for calling. We have to go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Okay, good morning. I don't know what to say, but I tell you, Ryan, we have to figure out how to stop people with this whole lot of feedback because I listen to the radio and I have in my earbuds and that song, those.
It's all right. Well, we can't tell people how to use their device. It's very difficult. I mean, I make suggestions from time to time, but go ahead. Make your substantial point. Make a substantial point.
I was just calling because I was listening to Coxon and figure out like what illegality of Venezuela going to use to fight for Maduro to come back home. What we have? What could they use? Because
hold on. Let Chair 9, Kojo.
Yes, it's a very interesting question. It's a fundamental question.
Go ahead.
Right. Firstly, there's the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, which is at The Hague. Okay, and the present administration in Venezuela could appeal to the International Court of Justice. There's also what is called the Latin American and Caribbean Human Rights Commission, right? And work can be done through that Human Rights Commission to have this matter addressed. However, the truth remains, and it's something I think this is a fundamental question for this reason. America has shown that it has no respect for law. You understand? So the question must be asked, is it futile? In other words, useless, you understand, to depend on, any form of legal system? Because as I have demonstrated using international law, America's behavior has broken international law. You understand? And Donald Trump has clearly stated that we are going to run Venezuela. Okay? We are going to run it how we see fit. Okay? So therefore, while there are mechanisms such as the International Court of Justice, okay, and as I said, the Latin American Commission on Human Rights and so on, okay, the idea that using legality on its own is going to work in this situation, I have serious doubts over that, to be honest with you. Secondly, Mr. Maduro is not brought in front of any international court, Mr. Maduro is brought in front of an American court. You understand? And outside of that, as the ambassador pointed out, they have made sure that they're going to bring him in front of the court that is most pro-Trump in its nature, in terms of its appointments, as judges and so on. So therefore, the question of Mr. Maduro, President Maduro, getting legal justice is a very, very serious one. I think it's a fundamental question that you've asked, which allows us to go deeper into this question, because the question of legality is of no concern at all to the United States of America.
Let me ask Kojo to respond. Kojo, over to you.
No, I think he's answered my question properly, because that's what was going through my mind. I mean, if he's in a New York court, who has the power to fight for Maduro? I mean, according to American system, they give you a lawyer who fights really for you, but not really for you because he's just a prosecutor lawyer, and he don't really care about, if he doesn't have no bones in the game, no backing, he ain't fighting for you in any strong way. He will present himself in front of the court, but how many people, go to court with those prosecutors and those government lawyers, and end up in jail for a long time. And when you find out that they were innocent, but they done gone jail already for home. So that's my problem, is that I don't see how Maduro is going to. It's like Mariago. He came to American court. He spent time in jail. I mean, that's all right.
All right.
Sorry, okay.
Thanks for calling. Yes. So you're saying,
no, you see, the truth of the matter is, let's just look at this objectively and really in real terms, right? Can justice and legality be born out of? You understand?
Hold your point.
Yes.
We have
Okay.
a call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon. Hello. Well, I'm sorry. The person's there, but we're not hearing.
Oh, well.
So maybe, and I recognize the number actually. Oh, good friend. Maybe you should call back. Hello. Yes.
Yeah. You see, the point is that America is building a case on a false premise. There's no evidence. You understand?
She's calling.
Okay.
The person's calling back. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yes, I've been looking and.
Oh, I thought it was your number, Miss Harold. Good afternoon to you. Yes, go ahead.
Harold, yeah, thank you. I've been looking and following this news about Venezuela since the night of the bombing that the United States did on Caracas. And I looked at both MSNBC and BBC. And on the bottom of the screens of both of those stations were written the words, President Maduro is due to make an official visit tomorrow afternoon to the United States of America. I have not seen that repeated anywhere, and I've not heard anybody repeating it anywhere, but that is what is written on the screens of both of those radio stations.
You mean television stations? You mean television stations? Television.
Yes,
Yeah.
BBC and MSNBC.
Okay.
MS know what thing is what they're calling themselves at the moment. But he was expected to make an official visit to the United States tomorrow afternoon. So obviously they started that bombing, so he could not make that official visit. Anyway, God, thank you.
Okay. Thanks for calling.
But you, may I say something?
Yes,
here,
go
Cecil?
ahead.
It is very, very important that we understand that when you listen to news, television, to radio, and so on, you end up sometimes unconsciously using their language.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And you may have noticed it is constantly being repeated, even in Al Jazeera, Al Jazeera, that Maduro was captured, as if he was running away from somebody, as if he's guilty of some crime, and that he was being searched for all over the world. You understand? And then people turn to me and say to me that, Al Jazeera is independent and objective. Absolute nonsense and rubbish. You understand what I'm saying? Absolute nonsense and rubbish. So I want to say to Miss Harold, it was Mrs. Harold, right?
Miss Harold.
Right. That, to be honest with you, Miss Harold, and take this for whatever, you might disagree with me, I don't know. I have not listened to the BBC, to CNN, MSNBC for more than 30 years. Because you see, when you listen to these people, you sometimes end up thinking and using their language, you understand? Unconsciously, unwittingly, you end up doing this thing. And that is a dangerous thing, because I do not see in what way, shape, or form you could use the word capture, you understand, to deal with the situation. Mr. Maduro was kidnapped.
No, but what she's saying is that in the night before, or she was looking.
No, I understood her very well.
No, but the point I'm making is that maybe he was due to visit.
Okay,
the US. I think that's the point she's saying.
Yeah. What I am saying is that I'm saying three things. Firstly, I would not have seen it because I don't watch those things. That's the first thing I'm saying. Mm-hmm. The second thing that I am saying is that this again points to the role the media plays, you understand, in misleading and in misinforming and so on and so forth. And thirdly, and probably most importantly, what I'm saying is this. Every time, I'm sure you heard this expression before, that our people in St. Vincent would say, I would take that with a pinch of salt. You understand what I'm saying? The media in reporting these things, one must be at best very skeptical. At best, very, very skeptical.
I suspect from what she's saying, she was skeptical, but I think she's reporting what she saw.
And I think what she reported is important for several reasons, you understand? Because it allows us to point out, you understand, some of these things that I just said. But more than anything else, it tells you how people or how the media is able, you understand, to fashion certain things if you're not careful.
There was also a report that Maduro was seeking some kind of dialogue with Trump.
Well, Trump himself said that at the press conference. He did say he spoke with Maduro.
Yes, and as I had said earlier on this program, if you recall, that the former prime minister of this country had insisted that there needs to be a conversation between Mr. Maduro and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yes,
but let me just come to. We don't have a lot of time remaining, but I want to go back to the implications for us in St. Vincent and the region.
For the Caribbean.
Yeah, because that to me is in all of this. And we need to be very practical in terms of, for one, the availability of energy, because our country depends on a lot. And down the line, if, as was kind of hinted at the press conference, during the press conference yesterday, there's a threat also to Cuba.
Yes.
It has implications for us in terms of health,
serious implications
from the point of health. And so it's those things that are up in my mind in terms of what are the implications when you try to answer this question. What does it mean for us as a country, as a people?
Right. There are two parts to it. The first part is what we can practically and really, in objective terms, see in front of us. Right? And there's the second part, which we can only deal with what is called speculation. Because until it happens, you understand, it remains speculation. So as regards the first part, practically, what we do know is that the policy as regards Venezuela relation to us is going to change. Because if Trump has his way, because Trump has made it clear that this is our oil, we're going to take our oil. You understand what I'm saying? And so therefore, that relation is going to, it's going to be based on what he wants. That's one, not what was established between Venezuela and the rest of the Caribbean. You understand? So that's the first thing.
But Dr. Cox, can you clarify? Because you say what he wants, but the point is that, from what I understand, he's going to reclaim the oil wells and so on well, he's not going to do it. He's going to facilitate the process of having the companies.
Yes.
So they're going to be operating on a basis other than what was there or what exists
Precisely the point. Because if you recall, what had happened is that Mr. Maduro, not Maduro, Commander Chavez had nationalized a lot of this oil operation in Venezuela. And as you know, the majority of oil refineries that the Americans have, they're different companies. These companies were designed to refine heavy oil, which is the kind of oil that Venezuela has, okay? And therefore, less oil from Venezuela is less profit for them because the refineries themselves were designed in that way. You understand, okay? So what we're looking at here, though, is the idea that American companies, okay, are going, the idea of using the Venezuelan oil is first and foremost for the profit of American companies. You understand what I'm saying? And the arrangement we had through ALBA, okay, will not function anymore. It will be run in accordance with something called America First. You remember that? And Make America Great Again. Two things Donald Trump has: America First and America Great Again. Both of them just mean one simple thing: American only. That is what they actually mean. America only. So that's the first practical thing we know. The second practical thing we know is that all the arrangements that we have. What do I mean by that? Alba itself, okay, the Alba Bank, you remember the Alba Bank, and all of that is going to go somewhere else, okay? Because the Americans are going to make sure that those things don't work anymore, okay? That's the second practical thing that we face.
So basically, just to put it in,
Yes.
Director, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, along with other Caribbean countries,
Yes.
have benefited from
Yes.
reasonable deals,
Yes.
reasonable offers
Yes.
from through the Alba Bank,
Yes.
and that would no longer be
Yes,
available.
exactly. And through the overall Alba umbrella. I don't know if you recall this, but I'm sure now I'm going to jog your memory, and I'm sure I'm going to jog Pigeon's memory as well. When the economy collapsed, the world economy collapsed in 2008, right? And so on. And what's his name? Obama and them took power and so on. Clinton became his Secretary of State. I don't know if you recall that. And she publicly thanked Venezuela, you understand, for providing oil and gas on concessionary term to the Caribbean. I don't know if you remember this.
Obama did actually.
You understand?
Yeah.
Publicly thanked Venezuela for doing it. You understand? None of those relations are going to exist. You understand what I'm saying? Well, obviously, let us put it simply this way, Mr. Ryan. If you are happy with what I am doing, right, will you change me? Will you send a military force to get me out of office? You understand? And if you're happy with what I am doing, would you then say after that, I am going to run it my way? What is your way? It therefore means that what was being run before, you understand what I'm saying? You disagree with that. That is obvious to me. You understand?
Well, they've said it. That's
the point I'm making.
At the press conference.
That's the point I'm making. You understand? So these are things that we know practically. We know this practically. We know practically that, as I say, if the situation continues, what you're going to have out of that is what? Economic dislocation. Okay? For the Caribbean. This we know. This we know. So let us. There are other things, but I see you watching the clock constantly.
Yeah, well,
right?
We have to end on time.
So let me run into a little bit of speculation. One, if Marco Rubio is right with what he has implied, the Caribbean is fundamentally done as a zone of peace. That's one. Because the idea that the Cubans are going to lie down, you understand what I'm saying, and allow America to do this is not going to happen. And let me tell you why it's not going to happen. Because right now, the Russians, the Chinese, and the North Koreans, okay, are looking at all of this. And if Marco Rubio announced, that Cuba is next, the Cubans are looking at this and are calling on their friends. We need help. We need support. I'm sure you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, right? And when Khrushchev placed missiles in Cuba. I'm sure you remember that. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. After the BF Pigs invasion, right, of 1961. Okay, so what we do know is that this is going to mean the end of the Caribbean as a zone of peace, if it's not already the case now with what has happened in Venezuela, right? That's the first thing we know. The second,
we should be mindful that the present Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamala Cecil, she did make the point when she addressed the UN last year that the Caribbean wasn't a zone of peace.
Well,
so I just wanted to...
Well, you see, the thing is this, that there is something called the Tlatelolco Agreement. I don't remember the year of it because I did those things a long time ago when I was at school. And in that agreement, we all agreed from Mexico downwards, you understand what I'm saying, that this place is going to remain a zone of peace. That is an agreement signed years and years ago. I did it when I was at school. I haven't looked it up. So legally speaking, you understand, we have established this. So it takes more than Kamala well, you know what I'm talking about. Right. It takes more than her, you understand what I'm saying, to break a legal agreement. That's the first thing.
No, but I just wanted to remind you, Dr. Cox, that she facilitated this invasion by allowing the Americans to place military assets on Tobago.
Yes.
So in a practical and a real way, that zone of peace, quote unquote, was interrupted.
Well, this is why I'm saying if it's not already broken now, if it's not already broken now, it is going to be fundamentally destroyed. You understand? Once the Americans go into Cuba. Now, this is going to have all kinds of spin-off for us, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, negatively speaking. We have, I don't know how many students there, you understand, but we've had a lot of students there. We have relations with them as regards medical support. You know this, doctors and so on and so on. We have agreements with them as regards tourism and training in tourism. We have agreements with them as regards certain infrastructural things. But outside of all of that, what is going to happen is that you have the Association of Caribbean States, right? And that is a body, that is one of the circles which brings us together. You understand? The Americans, through things like the CBI and so on, have consistently tried to destroy this Caribbean unity. So what I'm talking about here is that down the road, I could see this having serious implication for what we know as Caribbean unity.
We have about a minute to round up, so I want to ask you about your publication. How are they going?
All right.
I remember you on here.
You're in the middle of the track, and then you have to.
No, because
yes, I understand. No, thank you very much. And thank you so much. I appreciate that. As most people know, my latest book is called Living in Wisdom, an examination of human nature. And we had a launch of that. I had a launch of that book on the 19th of December, which went well. Actually, the books were sold out on that evening there. I was honored that many people participated, more than, I could have expected. But then we had no books in the country. All the books were gone. So a couple of days ago, some books arrived here in the country, and I think some will have arrived yesterday here. So you can get the new book, Living in Wisdom, an examination of human nature, that everybody has called a fantastic piece of writing. I think you read it, Mr. Right? And I think P. John is in the process of reading it. I don't know.
Well, actually, I'm in the process of going through a second time.
Right?
But yes.
And everybody across the globe who have read it has claimed it a masterpiece of writing. And so it's available at Korea City Store in the center of town. It's also available at Games Bookshop. The other two books, the other two major works, which is Where Mama Stays in Vain and The Story of Pauline Bramble, are also available at those shops. And I think we should be getting some new copies of The Story of Pauline Bramble, because I think the supplies here in St. Vincent are very limited. So this is what has happened. There's going to be a major exercise, which I don't want to speak about yet because we are finalizing this, but Dr. Cleve Scott and I are working on it. And for March this year, in celebration of National Heroes Month, there's going to be a major discussion on my work from the standpoint of history, philosophy, and literature. So that is what is happening. I want to thank everybody who supported my efforts so far. I see this as a responsibility. A lot of people think book writing makes money. No, you spend money. You don't make any money from it at all, right? Unless you break through like J.K. Rowling, and I'm not J.K. Rowling. So thank you so much. People will hear more, but for now, the books are available at Korea City Store and Mr. Games.
Mm-hmm.
J.K. Rowling is the author of the Harry Potter series, just for information for our listeners.
Yes.
But well, first of all, Dr. Cox rounding up statement in terms of the topic.
Well, I think first and foremost, we need to understand that St. Vincent and the Grenadines must not bury its head in the sand and play ostrich. And the reason for this, I think I have more than demonstrated it today, is that there are serious consequences for this country, both directly, practically, and also in the long term, because this country cannot exist in this world, in this neighborhood, without a respect for international law and international morality. Just to say this, Mr. Ryan, there are basically four things which determine your place in this world as a nation in terms of power. Okay? And you can either have all four or you can have a combination of them. That is military strength, technology, right? In civilization. America has a big position. It has military strength. It has economic, right? And it's technology. Some countries like India, for example, might not have it all, might have all three, might have three. China might have, Russia might have three of them. Okay, St. Vincent has none of these. We don't have any military might. We do not have a huge economy that influences the world. We have a tiny population. And of course, we have no technological power. So therefore, what do we have to depend upon? A respect for international law and international morality. We Gonzalez will be having a press conference tomorrow. Just allow me to say this, that I express my deep and sincere, profound solidarity with the people of Venezuela. I think I want to say to Prime Minister Gonzalez, to former Prime Minister Gonzalez, sorry again, that I know that he and Nicolas Maduro are very close friends. And so I empathize with him, I sympathize with him, and I know that he sees this as a blow to St. Vincent and the Grenadines because we have had serious and profitable relations. Although ours have never been transactional relations, they have been useful to us. So that is what I want to thank all your listeners for listening to us today. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, I just want to thank Richard for coming by and clearing up the situation for us. And I hope and pray that this situation does not worsen, and our economy, our society remain intact even after Trump.
Yeah, but I just want to us to go with this song from Stalin. All right, so I just want to officially round up the program by saying thank you to all our listeners and all the other stations that carry the program. And we look forward to being with you another time next week, Sunday. My name is Cecil, and good afternoon.
Judgment morning. Give me our quick Peter. If I come, sinners coming. With them I don't be dealing. Because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter looks Cecil Rhodes by the gate. Money. Peter look the Englishman. We send Cecil Rhodes to Africa land. Money. Peter take trick, take rally, but leave Victoria for me. Peter, I just don't care what you say, but Mussolini, he can't get away. Why? This is my time for money. That I on the book. from these madman and woman. I feel the full weight of the hand. They need the oppressed law. They never care about the poor. Peter, these people had a day. Well, now it's time for Stalin to play. Peter, wait, I say Peter, wait. Peter, look, Ian Smith by the gate. Money, money. Peter, I don't want you to make fuss. Remember, I want Christopher Columbus. Money, money. Peter, look, the Englishwoman who in South Africa refused to put sanctions. Matching. Peter, I just don't care what you do, but Reagan going in the fire too. Money, money. Why? This is my time for money. Peter, keep it fire blazing. Blazing, blazing, blazing. This is my time for money. Running. Peter, keep it fire coming. Let me know.
WEFM is SVG.